coming to the understanding that, well, we can't really understand. We can't really, intellectually understand this reality, this ultimate reality. It goes beyond the forms, it goes beyond the concepts, it goes way beyond. So there the intellect, has to understand its limitations. But still, of course, we so very much like to understand. This is such a tendency that we have. We so very much like to understand, and in that way man more and more, wants to believe only that which he can understand. This is a very important premise in science. Science not only has to experience something in order to believe that it is true, it also says that it has to understand it. As long as in science a scientist is having some strange new thing happening and he can describe it, but as long as he does not understand it, other scientists will regard it as inexistent, as long as he has no understanding of it. This is the way of science. This is intellect in square. It's like very much the way that we also are. But there is a saying that the wise man has to walk a long way to find God, while the innocent child is always in the arms of God. And yes, that is very important to understand. To understand that all your questioning, all your wanting to understand, really blocks you from understanding on the feeling level, which is really what bhakti is about. So, at some point, you have to a little bit be able to drop the intellect, to drop your questioning, to just accept and surrender to the miracle that is around you. In that way, bhaktas are said to be a little bit crazy, irrational. They have a particular view, all else is not interesting to them. They are crazy because they are in love. Like many lovers also become crazy and do crazy things for their love, giving them presents they can't afford, or things like that. Same way, a devotee of the divine, who has completely gone into this feeling of love, who has stimulated in many, many ways until he is completely filled with it, becomes irrational, becomes a little bit crazy, and that you can easily see also in many true bhaktas. And I'm certainly not saying this in a negative way, no? When I'm saying they are a little bit crazy. It is just what people will perceive, what people will feel about them. They will do very strange things, which to them are very natural, very important, but completely beyond the rational. They can't even explain these things. They just do it because of love. It takes away their reasoning. And it also explains why bhakti has some danger. No? Why there is some danger in this whole religious thing. This craziness of love, which makes you irrational, which makes you go beyond your intellect. But we'll talk about that later, but it's important to understand. And another important saying is, to get high, you have to be wise. But to stay high, you have to be crazy. Because you can't stay wise all the time. This is another important saying. So to get high, you have to be wise means to really, go deep inside and find there this truth of the divine. There you have to be a little bit wise. There you have to a little bit be serious and disciplined and so on. Otherwise, it's just hard to get there. But then to bring out this feeling, to bring out this thing, you can't keep remembering all that you know intellectually. This becomes empty. This easily becomes like empty words, and you again have to go through a whole process of thinking to again come to this feeling, oh yeah, right, that is the truth. But if you want to stay high, if you want to stay in this mood that you have there inside, then you have to be a little bit crazy. You just can't stay wise all the time. There is a saint in the stories of the Vedas called Narada, and he is the supreme incarnation of wisdom. Now there is a saying that this saint cannot stay for more than half a day in one place, or the world will be destroyed. This is a saying. Meaning you can't stay wise and serious and through your intellect, through your understanding, always focused on the divine. It's just not possible. It's just not natural. This is not how we are made. This is not how our mind works. We need to be able to play. And in order to play without falling into the realm of the senses and of the ego, we have to be a little bit crazy. And sing to God and chant to God and think of God and love God and act like a fool in love. Then we can keep it. And of course I'm not saying you all have to go crazy. But a little craziness won't hurt. That's what I really want to say. A little, acting irrational, following your feeling won't hurt. It doesn't all have to be planned. It doesn't all have to be clear. It all doesn't have to be defined or even understood. It's important to go beyond it. Follow your feeling. Not your feeling of your ego, of course, because that's also a feeling, but your divine feeling. The feeling that you have gotten there in your meditation. And the main reason why you need that is, of course, because of mind, who is very different from the intellect. Intellect is often compared to the old wise teacher. No? So, very important. But mind is often compared to the innocent child, the playful child or the monkey. And he needs to be able to play with God. He needs to be able to play with the divine. Otherwise he can't stay interested. So, we've been talking about it yesterday, in Ashtanga Yoga, how difficult it is to keep mind interested in meditation, in this mantra or prayer or whatever we are doing. And the way to make him interested, the most powerful way to make him interested, is through love. The moment that mind can come to love this divine and is allowed to play with this divine, to sing for this divine, to paint this divine, to work with this divine, then it will be very easy. And this was certainly true for me and for many of my fellow students, that in meditation there were some who really for a very long time, many years, they just didn't get any further. Okay, they were focused on doing it and so on. But this final letting go did not happen. Only at some point when they started developing bhakta and kind of set aside, being tired of the whole game, set aside all their intellect, all their understanding, all their, being in control, and let go of that control and just surrendered. And then, boom, very easily, they went into the really deep meditation, into samadhi. So this is very important. I was doing it yesterday also. If you sing, Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varinyam, it's not possible to do it for a long time. I mean, you can do that for an hour or 2 or 3, but not more than that. And certainly when then it is inside, even more boring. Huh? But yeah, as I was saying, it's important if you can take a holiday to do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. That will really take you somewhere. Well, if you do that, you need some love. You need to have some devotion in it and saying, Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsavitur Varinyam. With that you can sing days. If you know who you're singing to, if you have some idea, you have some feeling, some connection, some love, some relationship, then that's fantastic to do. And you will go, you will get very high there.